Let's do this. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Blacksmithing? I don't know. Hey guys, hey Mahalo, hey Ping, hey Corwin. Welcome to the stream. I originally had this apron on, and I accidentally put it on inside out, so like the pocket and stuff was on the inside. I don't know. I'm a little discombobulated today for no reason. Alrighty. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for joining me today. I believe that Tim the Blacksmith is also streaming today and also doing bottle openers. So, you know what? I guess we've got two bottle opening blacksmiths today. So, today I am going to take this piece of steel right here. I think it's a little bit shorter than maybe 6 inches or so. And we are going to turn this into a bottle opener that has like a dog or a wolf head at the other end. I have a little bit better idea on how to make some animals. And so I kind of was like looking at some pictures of some bottle openers and some pictures of some animals. And I'm thinking I have a general idea of how I want to go about this, at least a little bit better than the idea I had for the lizard. So we are going to attempt it, and hopefully we end up with a bottle opener at the end of the stream. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is start up the forge so I can start heating up my metal. We do have an ad starting in about a minute, 2.5 minutes, somewhere in there. So we shall see. We are going to continue using the mailbox because it's very efficient, it's very hot, and it kind of saves me money in the long run. All right. Let's, I guess I didn't put the right tongs on the thing today. That's all right. So like I said, we're going to do a bottle opener on one end and a dog or wolf head on the other end. I saw Alex Steele did an animal head too. I know, everybody. See, I feel like there is this pervasive, we give ourselves ideas, right? So I do a project and then someone else copies the idea for the video, or someone else does a video and I copy their idea. So I think it's like this lovely cycle of sharing ideas and, techniques between blacksmith content creators. So I'm not sure if, who's the origin of it. I think we all kind of just pull from each other. So, yeah. Let's see. Why am I blanking on what I was going to say next? I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about today. But for whatever reason, I just started blanking right then and there. I don't know why. I promise I still remember what all I'm supposed to talk about today. So it's a little on the colder side today. It's like 44 degrees outside. It's supposed to be a little bit cooler today and tomorrow, and then it's supposed to jump up again and be like 80 degrees Fahrenheit on Monday. So I'm really not looking forward to the heat that's going to be generated. So I'm thinking that we'll probably do more animal sculptures on Monday as well. It may not be a bottle opener. It may be the end of this bottle opener. I'm kind of deciding what exactly to do Monday by the pace on which I set with this particular piece. So on Friday, no, today is Friday. Wow. So on Wednesday, we finished our lizard, and I brought it in the house, so it's in the house right now. And so I don't have, maybe I should take the ad break and go grab it so that I can be like, hey, this is what we finished. I'll be right back. Apologies. Goodness gracious, guys. From inside my house. All right. Apologies. So once that ad is over, I will talk a little bit about the lizard, what we did right, what we did wrong, and then what we are going to do to this piece of steel to make it go a little bit easier. Ah, goodness gracious. It's just starting to get warmed up a little bit. Like I said, it's in the 40s today, so it's a little bit nippy. But I got the forge going. I got my sweatshirt on. I'm ready to go. Maybe. Probably. So, let me fix my bra strap here. There we go. The worst clothing malfunction, you know? All right. So we are back. So on Wednesday, we finished up our lizard, and I'm going to change the camera angle, or change to the close-up cam so we can kind of talk about this guy a little bit. Maybe you guys can see him a little bit better. Let's see. If I hold him like so, I think you should be able to see him a little better. So I cleaned him up on the wire wheel, and so he's a little bit shiny. I like that. It's nice. So we added little nostrils, and I think those are all right, but I think that my my center punch was a little bit big for those guys. They kind of blew out his nostrils a bit. He's got giant nose. I was pretty happy with his mouth, except for this little dimple here, and that was because we started doing a little bit of fish lipping. And so I need to allow our steel to soak a little bit longer so that the outside of the steel is as hot as the interior of the steel. I was pretty happy with the eyeballs, even though they look a little bit lifeless and dull because they're just, holes in there. But, I think that's all right. I think the size is fine. I think I want to do a hollow point punch though, so that we got a little bit like of a rounded eyeball in there. But other than that, I think he turned out pretty well. He's a little bit squared off on his arms and legs. I didn't really take that much time to kind of round those out. So I think we're gonna stick with the more square-ish style for our wolf head. But I think we're going to do that deliberately instead of by accident because we didn't really finish it. So we are only going to be doing a head. We're not going to be doing the arms and legs or anything this time. Just so that we can have a little bit more time to work on the bottle opener on the back end. Making my first hammer today, a mini hammer. That's so exciting, Corwin. And thank you so much for that 35 streams. Whoa, wow, 35 streams. How many? That's like 10 weeks, over 10 weeks. It's like 11 or 12 weeks worth of streams, like consecutively. Thank you so much for that consistent support. Thank you. Wow, that's crazy. I always forget how long we've been streaming. I was talking to my parents yesterday because my parents came over. They live about 4 hours north of me, and so they made the trip and they came over. And I was talking about how long I've been doing this because I was kind of explaining, where I am and from where I started and like the progress that we've made together. It would have been a lot longer if my VPN didn't screw me on one. Oh, man, yeah, that VPN. You can't get credit if you're anonymous. Also, Monkey1142, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. So yeah, I was kind of talking to my parents yesterday about, where we started and where we are now and the amount of progress that we've made. We've got over 500 followers here on Twitch. We've got 1,000 followers over on YouTube. We're doing excellent and we're just really getting started. But I realized that we have almost been streaming together for a year and a half at this point. That is so insane. It feels like forever, but it also feels like time is just slipping away from me. So I am so grateful for all of your support, and I'm having so much fun. So we're just getting started. We're just getting started. All right. We've got hot material in the forge. I'm going to let it soak in like I was talking about earlier. I want to make sure that the outside and the inside of the steel is equally hot so that when we start squishing the material around, it's going to move at the same rate. I know it's already drop time. Hey, Funk Up. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Yes, I'm already dropping things. Let me reset the drop counter for you guys. Exclamation point. Reset drop. Yeah. Man, yesterday I was making my shorts. Every week on Thursday, I make 5 shorts and then I add them to my YouTube and schedule them so that they come out once every day, right? And I was working on Wednesday's short, and because Wednesday is the 1st of April, which is also crazy to realize, it's April Fool's Day. And so I thought doing some funny little shorts would be really cool for next week. So on Wednesday, I have a drop compilation. So everything from the shoulder pauldron project all the way up through this project, or I guess the lizard project, I've kind of taken a couple of drops and put them all in like a little compilation. And it was really funny because I make transcripts of all of my VODs, like the live streams. And so all I have to do is search for keywords. And so my keyword for all of those, the last like 6 months worth of streams was just drop. And so I found so many instances where I have dropped so much stuff. It is so crazy. I tried to make sure that I don't have too many of the same object being dropped. So I only have like 1 instance of the hammer being dropped. I have 1 instance of a set of tongs dropped, fun things like that. Most of it is like projects dropping here and there, because I feel like that's what I drop the most, is projects that we're still working on. So yeah, you have that to look forward to on next Wednesday, which is April Fool's Day. That's also when the next project video, the long form video, is going to come out. And that one is the scissor project that we just finished last week. So I'm starting to do the whole hand to mouth thing when it comes to these projects. So I think we're gonna do an individual project or video for the lizard, and then another one for this particular project that we're starting today, just so that I can get a little bit of leeway for a longer, more complex project. We spent about 3 weeks on the scissors, and that kind of backed me up a little bit. And I started getting, I've run out of my my lead up, if that makes sense. So I believe what we're going to do too this weekend, we're going to shoot a video about the project wall. So I promised you guys that I was going to make or hang up all of the projects that we do together on the wall behind the forge. And I kind of stopped doing that after we had our mess up with the axe. And I keep saying that I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff up. And I talked about putting some of the pieces that Corwin sent me on the project wall. And I have yet to actually do it. So I think this weekend we're going to spend one day just arranging things on the project wall. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about each project and what was going on and what I thought about it. So it's a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit decoration, a little bit shop tour. So we'll probably throw that one in there somewhere just to give me a little bit more leeway before the end of April, when we are in the Ozarks. Got to give myself a little bit of editing time padding, you know? So super excited about all that. I've got a few more stories that I want to talk about, but I think we need to start working on the steel and spread out some of my bullet points for today. Okay, that'll be a nice little review. Yeah, I'm hoping that it'll be a fun video. It might not be like my highest performing video or anything, but I'm hoping that you guys like it. It should be a fun one to watch, and we can kind of remember all of the different projects that we've done together. It's like a clip show. And I feel like that's probably exactly what it is, a clip show. All right. Did I do the thing? I hit record and then I didn't change the cameras. Goodness gracious. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start by working on the muzzle a little bit. I want to leave it relatively wide because I want to be able to make an open mouth. All right, so what we've got here is I've moved in the face a little bit. We're starting to work on the muzzle is what I'm trying to do here. We do have a little bit of a excessively long corner there, so I'll probably hammer that back in for our next heat. But yeah, we're kind of starting to give ourselves a little bit of a muzzle shape. It's a little on the shorter side, and I want to make it a little bit longer, but there's a little bit more shaping I want to do. Something is burning. I can smell something burning, but it smells like, I don't know. It doesn't smell like a dangerous burn, if that makes sense. I don't see anything, so I should be good. Evening Sandwich, welcome to the stream. All right, where is my... There it is. Leaving sentences half said. So yeah, I need my brush. Is there something in the mailbox or behind the mailbox? Not today. There's a little bit, well, there is actually. It's a little bit of fire refractive blanket. What happened to the lizard? I was a little bit late. What did I do with it? I put it right here. So this is our lizard. So we finished it up. I polished it up on the wire wheel, so it's a little bit shiny. I kind of like that. So we've got a nice mouth. He's kind of got a split bottom lip, and I'm not amazingly happy with that. But we've learned quite a bit from making this guy, and so hopefully we can use what we learned on the wolf head that we're starting today. We got nostrils, a mouth, we got some eyes, a little squiggly tail. So yeah, we finished it, at least for now. I may end up messing with it, but I'm also like, you know, I want to keep the first animal that I do relatively intact so that I have something to compare my subsequent animals to, you know? It's not the best, but I think he's a little bit cute. All right. So right now we are working on the muzzle of a wolf, or at least I'm going to try and make a wolf or a dog. I haven't. Wolves and dogs are very similar in look, and I'm not entirely sure which this will look like, but I'm going to do my very best. I've kind of given myself a little bit of or I looked at pictures of wolves and dog heads, and I have like I feel like I have a plan of attack is what I'm trying to say. I think I know what order I need to do the steps in. I feel like when we did the lizard, I was kind of just like messing with it, and I didn't really have a plan. So I've laid out several different steps, and I think that it's going to work relatively well. At least I hope it does. So yeah, a lot happened yesterday. As I said earlier, my parents came. Like I said, they live about 4 hours north of me. And so they traveled down and they got here around 10 a.m. my time. And so they hung out and we talked about the stream and everything that we've been doing here. And I got to show off the lizard and the scissors, and they were really impressed that they cut the scissors. Just first make an animal and then decorate that animal, or then declare what that animal is. It's safer, right? My goal is to create either a dog or a wolf, and after that, maybe it'll be something different. Maybe if the muzzle is too short, it'll be a cat. I don't know. But once we finish the head, we're going to turn it around and we're going to try and put a bottle opener on the other end. And I do have a bottle in the fridge that we can open when I get it put together. Hopefully we can finish it today. If not, we'll push it into Monday and we'll finish it Monday. I'm pretty sure in 2 days I can get this wolf head bottle opener done. And you know what? I need to get it done anyway, because the contest that I made this, or that I'm making this project for, ends on Tuesday, because that is the last day of March. So that's my deadline for this particular project. I think I'm going to cheat a little bit because we're supposed to do a bottle opener and a leaf. And I've made a leaf this month, but I was not happy with it. It was kind of like, some little tiny snippet thing that I did for a demo when I was waiting to see how the internet was working a couple days ago. So I wasn't amazingly happy with it. I might cheat and use this leaf instead for the contest, because I think it's a little bit prettier. But that's kind of cheating, because I guess I made that one just before the beginning of the month. But we did actually make it before, or like after the topic was declared, I think. I can't remember. I don't know. It's probably just cheating. I'm gonna, we'll see. Maybe if we get done a little bit earlier, I'll do another leaf, and then it won't be cheating, right? All right, let's do another heat. Once again, we are working on the muzzle of this wolf. The worst part about using 5/8 inch stock is the tongs that I specifically made for it don't really fit in the opening very well. All right. I'm going to hammer this back in a little bit and see what we can do there. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to push this back on the opposite corner. And we're kind of making the eye area. So you can kind of, maybe you can see that I've isolated this muzzle section and given us a little bit of area for the eyes. Oops. All right, there's a nice eye section and a muzzle. So I've left myself hopefully enough material that I can cut open the mouth and use that kind of as a bottle opener a little bit. So I've got another step that I need to do, but we're going to heat it up first. And I'm going to change the angle on the camera. Focusing it. Let's see, I might change the aperture just a little bit so we can get a tiny bit more contrast. I think that should be fine. Back. There we go. That should work a little better. So we got groceries yesterday, so I'm super excited that once I get out, or once I'm out of water, I can refill this container with juice. So I have something to drink besides soda. Only make dragons. When someone says they don't look like a dragon, ask them when the last time they saw one is. I mean, that's a good motto to have, or like, you know, a good guidepost. Because then it's like, you know, whatever it looks like, it's right, because we don't know what dragons look like. But I guess if it doesn't turn into or if it doesn't look enough like a wolf or a dog, then maybe I will say that it's a dragon. I am planning on doing or picking up some of the material behind its head and kind of creating little ears that way with a chisel. And I don't know, that's kind of the same way that you use little dragon horns. So I don't know, maybe it's more of a dragon and less of a wolf or a dog. We'll see, though. We'll see. So yeah, I'm super excited because I have something to drink that's not soda. Soda is so bad for you when you are sweating and working hard. It makes your kidneys work even harder to filter out all of the gunk that's in soda. And it doesn't hydrate you as well as, like, you know, water or water with electrolytes. So how we doing on heat? I want to push this in a little bit further so that I can get some heat on the where I want to put the back of the head. We're going to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a, I don't know, the crown of the head. We've gotten our muzzle done. So I want to isolate out the back of the head. So then we can have little ears that pop up. And you know what? I might screw this up royally. And if that happens, then you guys get to, you know, point and laugh, and I get to point and laugh. But part of the reason I'm going to isolate out the back of the head is so that I can bend the head forward a little bit. My material is pretty thick that it doesn't like bending on its own. So I want to give it a nice neck and make it a little bit skinnier so I can bend it. All right. Got plenty of heat now, so let's see what we can do this time. I'll put that over there. Coming at a weird angle from the camera. I think it's all right, but I may end up changing it immediately after this heat. All right, like I said, we are going to isolate the back of the head. I think I want to go right there. Make sure that we don't move it around much as we're doing this. So we've kind of got like a crown of the head a little bit. I'm going to flatten it out just a hair here, and I think we're all right. Alrighty. Did I make it? It didn't even work. All right, so we're just going to heat this back up again. And I don't know, I think that's pretty good so far. I want to push into both of the sides so that it's a little bit thinner and we can move that head forward. It looks like we've got our first ad coming up. Man, I don't feel like we've been out here long enough for an ad to start. But we've got about 2 minutes. And I think we should be good there. That'll give us plenty of time to heat up the area that we're going to be moving. And yeah, I think it should be good. Before electrolytes were invented, there were always gas lights in sport drinks. Oh, were there always gas lights in sports drinks? I mean, probably. I imagine that there were lots and lots of sugar in sports drinks. Or maybe they just didn't have sports drinks. Were people drinking like orange and apple juice or something? Because I mean, orange and apple juice and like, grape juice and all of the, the fruit juices, I guess, they're pretty decent for you as long as you're using 100% fruit and not just like flavored sugar water like Kool-Aid. But that could have been what they were drinking too. I don't know. Gatorade, it was invented by, the Florida Gators football team. So before that, I don't know. I don't know what people who were in sports drink. It might have just been straight water. Goodness gracious. So part of me this morning was thinking about just doing a bottle opener with a twist on it. Because I really want to have a bottle opener for the Instagram contest, and I just wasn't thrilled by the lizard that we made and we finished up on Wednesday. And I thought that if I tried to do another animal, it might take me a little bit too much time, and I could just do a bottle opener and then return to animals next week. And you know what? I want to try it anyway. I think that I just, I want to try and do the hard thing. I want to decorate a good, like, pretty bottle opener. Not sure whether the pun quite got through. Oh, after reading it over again, I guess I get it. I get it. I do. Because prior to the invention of electricity, all lights were made with, or were used, there was a lot of gas lights, Apologies. Sometimes it doesn't quite, I don't quite catch the puns. So we're in the middle of an ad break. An ad break. I'm going to take the time to kind of, clean off my anvil and set my space up. Got plenty of heat in there, so once the ad is over, we'll be able to do another time on the anvil. I don't know why I call them heats, and then when I say that the metal has enough heat in it, then it gets a little confusing. But that's always what I used to say, or what I've always called them, is like heats, when you take the metal out of the forge and you start working on it. All right, we are back. So yeah, I guess I didn't get your pun sandwich. I think part of it is because here in the United States, there are so few places that still have like the gas lines for gas lights or gas powered lights. So I just automatically, when I think lights, I'm like, oh, it's just candles or electricity. And so I guess in my head, I just skipped right over lights that were powered by gas. So I don't know. I mean, there's the whole thing, gas lighting, and it's a little bit lost on me, but in my head, I understand how that would work, but All right, let's do another heat with our steel. Maybe we'll put a twist in this at the end too. I don't know. Kind of trying to isolate cheeks on this guy a little bit. Whoops. I moved it. Let's make sure that we're not going to move it too badly. And we're starting to move the head backwards, and what we really want to do is we want to move it forwards. So I'm going to have to fix that up within the next heat or two. So we're going to heat this back up and continue working. It's not too bad, though. I think I've isolated out a pretty nice head. So yeah. I've heard of dog leg and dog eared, but dog head? I mean, there's dog head hammers, aren't there? Or am I mistaking that? Isn't a dog head hammer like the hammers that have most of their girth on one side of the handle and less on the back end? I could be mistaken. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, when I first was thinking about what to do for today's stream, because we had finished off the lizard, part of me just wanted to just make a bottle opener and then decorate it really simply, just to have a bottle opener to turn in for our contest. And yeah, I decided that I needed to try to make an animal head, or what I wanted to do to decorate it anyway, because a regular bottle opener just isn't going to be cool enough, I think, to turn in for that contest. I think you're having a slideshow. Oh no. Man, I do have a lot of drop frames there. Apologies. It looks like we're stabilizing for the moment, but I don't know for sure. I do know that I'm having a little bit of variance within my internet connection, so I apologize. I mean, I can call the ISP again, but I don't know that they're really going to want to come out here if the stream isn't fully dropping. So I'll call them and I'll see if I can't get them to come out again and see if they can get it a little bit more stable. Or at least they can give me some advice for what to do. But yeah, that is a dog's head hammer. There's a big chunk of steel on one end and then a little chunk on the opposite end of where the handle is. So I don't know. I've been struggling really hard with trying to get more stable internet, and apologies, because I guess I'm still working through the problem. It was a little bit, we still had a little bit of a slideshow happening on Wednesday, because when I was looking through the footage to create my shorts, I noticed that there was a lot of frame dropping. So I think I'll call the ISP when the stream is over and see if I can get them to do something else, or at least tell me what's going on. I'm also seeing a little bit of a struggle on my playback as well. So you guys you're not crazy. It's happening. It's probably my internet, and I apologize for that. We haven't completely dropped yet, as far as I'm aware, though. So yeah. So yesterday, another thing that happened, after my parents left, we went, forget stable, I'll take barn internet. I mean, yeah, I could have some barn internet. Internet that's directly out here would be great, but I have to rely on my satellites. Maybe when I get rich and famous, with lots and lots of money. You're still there, kind of. Okay. You could probably hear me. You might not be able to see me as well. I think that's probably where we're at. Apologies. So we started our garden last night. So we have a tray of 36 seed starters, and that we bought from the farm supply store. And so we read the little backs of all of the little seed packages, and we put all of the seeds in the dirt. And then I went to try and kind of water them, because the dirt was really, really, it was really dry. And so I watered them, and I don't know if I put too much water in it or what, but I feel like the soil that was in the little cups isn't absorbing the water. So it's just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, the seeds are still pretty dry, so I think that it'll be all right. And I'm not drowning the seed, but it's still a little bit like, why isn't it absorbing? So this is my first time attempting to garden. So if any of you guys have any tips on what I can try to do to get the water to absorb in the dirt, please do let me know. Like I said, I don't have a green thumb. I probably have a brown thumb. We're gonna try and do another heat on what is going on with my frames and okay, so it is losing stream. Have I disconnect? I haven't disconnected yet, but I only have hardly any bandwidth right now. Goodness gracious. We is not doing so hot. 16% of my frames is dropping. What can I do? I don't know. Aside from attempting to reset my router, but that would break the stream. So, where's Drew? I have who's oh yeah, Yankee would be all over that. You're still here, but Skippy. I am a super Skippy. Skip to my loo? I don't know. I apologize. Until a few weeks ago, I lived on the 5th floor without even a balcony. Not much of a gardener. Yeah. I do. I think I need to talk to Yankee about what's going on. What is... I don't know. My bandwidth is being awful. So sometimes the picture updates. It's not you guys. It's my bandwidth. OBS is telling me that I only have 1,000 kilobytes per second